Gya σας and welcome to Greek News Global. I'm Tom Skolarikis. In this bulletin, Greeks globally prepare for Easter, lamb prices in Greece soar, the US and EU cheesed off over Feta, and Petrounias again the Lord of the Rings. John Mangos is taking a well-earned week off. Greece is preparing for Orthodox Easter, with centuries-old traditions coming to life across the country and its islands. On Chios, the famous Rouketopolemos will see rival churches fire homemade rockets at churches in opposing villages, while on Crete, communities prepare to burn effigies of Judas in towering bonfires. On Corfu, islanders have been painting and readying its botides, clay pots set to be hurled from balconies during Saturday's Proti Anastasi in front of a crowd that is expected to exceed 100,000 people in Corfu town's main square. Corfu's renowned Philharmonic marching bands have been rehearsing their musical offerings for the week's proceedings too, among them the historic Palea, Greece's oldest philharmonic, established by Nikolaos Manzaros and the first to ever play the Greek national anthem. That audio courtesy of Stamatis Katapodis. To Sydney now, where thousands are expected to gather across the city this weekend for Easter, with two of the country's largest congregations set to draw record crowds. Attendances are forecast to reach between 6,000 and 10,000 people at both Kogra and St. Spiridon Greek Orthodox churches, with worshippers set to spill into surrounding streets for both the Epitafio and midnight resurrection service. Father Athanasios Giatsos from Kogra is hoping 2026 breaks the attendance record set last year.
Last year on Good Friday, Council had told us that we had 10,000 people for the Epitafios. We're hoping that we have a bigger number this year. And from what we've seen with attendance at church on Palm Sunday and every day, and there has been a big increase in numbers.
It'll be a similar story at St. Spiridon in Kingsford, according to Father Stavros Ivanos, with the church's live stream only set to add to those numbers.
We're expecting at least 5, 6, maybe even 7,000 people for the midnight proclamation of Christ is risen, where they will stand outside holding their lit candles with the holy light. The live streaming services are played in a lot of the nursing homes around Kingsford, a lot of nursing homes around Australia. I know that the services are also played in a lot of churches, in rural churches where there are no priests. And then we have Australia-wide audiences and worldwide audiences.
Greece has prepared multiple contingency plans for the annual transfer of the Holy Fire from Jerusalem, as heightened security restrictions continue to impact this year's Holy Week ceremony. The news comes after Israeli police announced Jerusalem's major holy sites, including the Church of the Holy Sepulchre, will reopen following their closure at the outbreak of the war with Iran. Authorities have mapped out several possible routes to ensure the sacred flame reaches Greece safely, with the primary option remaining a direct flight from Israel. Alternative arrangements include transporting the Holy Fire through Jordan or via Egypt's Sinai Peninsula, should security conditions deteriorate further. Security in Jerusalem's Old City has been significantly tightened ahead of the ceremony, with increased police presence, restricted access through key gates, and only a limited number of clergy expected inside the Church of the Holy Sepulchre on Holy Saturday. Final travel plans will be confirmed closer to the ceremony, depending on regional developments. Greek families are set to pay more for their traditional Easter feast this year, with lamb prices soaring above €12 a kilo amid a major supply shortage. Animal diseases including blue tongue and foot and mouth have slashed livestock numbers across Greece and neighbouring suppliers, reducing availability by up to 50%. Butcher shops across the country also report orders were down 50% on Great Monday as households cut back on spending amid ongoing economic uncertainty. Butchers say the fall in demand comes as many families purchase smaller quantities, while farmers insist that higher prices are necessary to cover soaring production costs. In Thessaloniki markets, lamb is already selling for as much as €15 per kilo, with further increases expected before Easter. Strong Easter travel demand is keeping planes full across Greece, despite ongoing disruption in the Middle East. New figures from Aegean Airlines show average seat occupancy above 75% on both domestic and international flights, with some routes topping 85%. Passenger numbers are reportedly tracking close to last year's levels. While cancellations to the Middle East have increased due to the conflict, Greek travellers are still heading overseas in large numbers, particularly to Spain and Portugal, Morocco and Scandinavia. From Thessaloniki, the busiest international routes include Barcelona, Brussels, Milan, Larnaca and Rome. Domestically, demand is strongest for Kos, Santorini, Lemnos, Rhodes and Mykonos. Former Turkish Defence Minister Hulusi Akar has sparked outrage after warning Greek Cypriots that this may be their last Easter. In a social media post, Akar wrote, "Those dreaming of Easter, this will be your last Easter," alongside a map of Cyprus showing the occupied north under the flag of the self-declared Turkish Republic of Northern Cyprus. The retired general, who now chairs Turkey's Parliamentary Defence Committee, made the remarks just weeks after visiting Cyprus, where he met Turkish Cypriot leader Tufan Erhurman and other officials while reiterating his support for a permanent two-state solution on the divided island. The comments are expected to inflame already heightened tensions over Cyprus. The United States is reportedly weighing a major shift in its NATO military presence, and Greece could be among the winners. According to the Wall Street Journal, the Trump administration is considering plans to move US troops away from allies seen as less supportive during the war with Iran, and toward countries viewed as more aligned with Washington, including Greece. Officials say Greece, along with Poland, Romania and Lithuania, are being recognized in Washington as a supportive partner during the conflict, particularly as tensions grow between the US and several European capitals. The proposal remains in its early stages and would require congressional approval, but it reflects a broader shift, with US military positioning increasingly tied to political backing in times of war. The White House has already criticized some NATO allies for what it calls a lack of support, signaling potential changes ahead for the alliance. 3 Greek government ministers have resigned as a European Union investigation into alleged agricultural subsidy fraud gathers pace. Those stepping down include Rural Development Minister Lefteris Avianakis, along with Deputy Ministers Stavros Keletsis and Dionysis Stamenitis. The inquiry centres on claims that EU funds meant for farmers were improperly obtained through false declarations of land and livestock. Among the more unusual allegations, claims for non-existent agricultural activity, including so-called banana plantations on Mount Olympus, Greece's most iconic mountain. European prosecutors are now working with Greek authorities to determine the scale of any misuse of public money. The government says the resignations are intended to protect the integrity of the investigation, but opposition figures argue the case points to deeper systemic failures likely to draw further scrutiny from Brussels. Greece is deepening defence ties with Israel, signing a new agreement to purchase advanced rocket systems while also integrating its homegrown Kedavros anti-drone technology with Israel's Barak MX air defence platform. The move strengthened Greece's long-range strike and air defence capabilities as Athens continues modernising its military amid tensions in the eastern Mediterranean. The Kedavros system, which proved effective in Red Sea operations against Houthi drones, marks the first major Greek-Israeli defence industry collaboration and could boost international demand for Greek-made defence technology. Greece is moving to ease cost of living pressures, with the government announcing new support measures for businesses hit by rising energy prices. Officials say around €100 million a year will be made available to help industries manage soaring electricity costs, which have been driven in part by ongoing instability in global energy markets. The scheme will focus on energy-intensive sectors, while additional funding is expected to support longer-term efficiency upgrades. Despite a strong tourism outlook, many households and businesses across Greece continue to feel the strain of higher living costs. The government says the measures are designed to protect jobs and maintain economic stability as pressure grows across Europe to shield consumers from rising energy bills. Meanwhile, Greece is recovering from a wave of extreme weather that has caused widespread disruption and at least one death. The storm system known as Storm Erminio brought torrential rain, gale-force winds and severe flooding, particularly across the Athens region and several Aegean islands. Emergency services responded to hundreds of calls as homes were inundated and roads turned into rivers. In the coastal town of Makri, a man was killed after being swept away by floodwaters. Meanwhile, strong winds carried Saharan dust across southern Greece, turning skies over islands including Crete a dramatic red and disrupting flights and ferry services. Officials say the cleanup is ongoing, with damage to infrastructure and transport networks, as scientists warn that such extreme weather events are becoming more frequent across the region. The municipality of Aegina has confirmed that the island's water is now suitable for drinking following the completion of microbiological analysis. According to the municipal announcement, accredited laboratory tests conducted on samples taken from multiple points across the water supply network showed that the water met all legal standards for human consumption. The announcement marked the full restoration of the water's suitability for consumption after a difficult 3-month period during which the island experienced a lack of water following damage to the underwater pipeline. Greece has taken a further step towards greener public transport with the arrival of a new fleet of electric buses in Athens. A total of 155 vehicles, manufactured by the Chinese company Yutong, were unloaded at the port of Piraeus in recent days. Officials say 125 of the buses will enter service in the capital, operated by the state-run transport provider, as part of efforts to modernise the network and cut urban emissions. The remaining buses are set to be exported to Serbia. The delivery is part of a wider government push to expand electric transport, improve air quality and reduce reliance on older diesel fleets. Authorities say further investment in charging infrastructure and additional electric vehicles is expected in the coming years, as Athens continues its transition to cleaner, more sustainable public transport. A dispute between the European Union and the United States over the use of the name Feta is escalating in a row that goes beyond cheese and into global trade rules. The EU says Feta is a protected Greek product made only in specific regions under strict standards, but American producers argue the name is now generic and should be freely used. The disagreement is increasingly playing out worldwide as countries take sides in trade negotiations. Australia has recently reached an agreement with the EU to recognise and protect a range of European product names, including Feta, meaning the term will be restricted to authentic imports with some allowances for existing local producers. The standoff reflects a broader clash between protecting cultural heritage and maintaining open global markets. To sport now, and Greek gymnastics star Eleftherios Petrounias has once again underlined his dominance on the world stage, claiming gold at the recent FIG World Cup event in Cairo. Known as the Lord of the Rings, Petrounias delivered a near-flawless routine on his signature apparatus, the still rings, finishing ahead of a strong international field. The victory marks another milestone in an already decorated career for the Olympic champion, who continues to defy expectations well into his 30s. His performance reinforces his status as one of Greece's most reliable medal hopes heading into upcoming major competitions as he continues to build momentum on the road to future world and Olympic events. And that's it for this edition of Greek News Global, recorded on the 10th of April 2026. I'm Tom Skolarikis. Gya σας και καλή Ανάσταση.